Donna and Gulam Moonda were the envy of many residents in their small town in western Pennsylvania. She was an attractive American, a former cheerleader. He was a wealthy, beloved doctor from India. Their romance lasted a quarter of a century until a mysterious gunman shattered the fragile facade of perfection, exposing a marriage rife with betrayal, infidelity, and abuse of illegal drugs. Many people fear scheduling important dates on the 13th, and if it falls on a Friday, the anxiety increases exponentially. 2005, Friday, May 13th. Not the luckiest date in some people's eyes. However, if everything went according to plan, for Donna Moonda, this day would become the happiest day of her life. She was always considered positive and cheerful, but in recent months, there was no trace of positivity left. Donna's marriage was falling apart. On May 13th, she planned to get rid of her tiresome husband with the help of a young lover to finally breathe freely. Gulam Moonda, Donna's husband, was significantly older than her. People admired his generosity, friendliness, and openness. For Gulam, Friday the 13th would become the worst day on earth. Gulam loved and supported his wife. He was the ideal husband. So what happened? How did a loving wife turn into a monster who coldly watched as her spouse was deprived of life? Gulam Moonda, a brilliant doctor and immigrant who achieved success. Gulam loved America and its wealth. He liked expensive cars, jewelry, watches, custom-tailored suits. The man believed that if you have money, you should spend it on what you love and enjoy it. Gulam was a big spender and always carried a wad of cash in his wallet. He often joked with friends, saying that if someone robbed him, he wanted the robber to leave satisfied. Besides cars and jewelry, Gulam couldn't resist beautiful women. If he liked someone, he immediately started flirting and tried to ask them out on a date. That's how, at 43, Gulam met Donna, a modest young woman who had graduated high school 3 years earlier. She grew up in a middle-class Christian family, where they went to church every Sunday, where children obeyed their parents and tried to stay out of trouble. Donna graduated from college and returned to work in her community. The senior hospital doctor, Gulam Moonda, and the attractive former cheerleader hit it off easily and quickly found common ground. The man was twice her age, and this age difference worried Donna a little. But Dr. Moonda knew how to talk to women. The charming doctor showered the pretty blonde with lavish gifts. Over the next 12 years, he helped his young beloved train as a nurse and then funded her master's degree. Donna became a top-tier nurse anesthetist. During this time, Gulam and Donna grew closer and closer. At first, the girl didn't consider the older man as a boyfriend, but then she fell head over heels in love with him. Gulam's friends thought their couple was wonderful. Donna was very pleasant to talk to, so the doctor's colleagues hinted to him that it was time to get married. They believed Donna was the best match for him. They married when Donna was 30 and Gulam turned 54. Right after the wedding, the newlyweds moved into a stunning modern house in a picturesque area on a plot of over 6,000 square meters with well-groomed shrubs and trees. In the small town, they were considered almost a celebrity couple. Like many people who achieved success in life, Gulam Moonda started from the bottom. He was born into a poor family in India. Sometimes the boy ate only once a day because there was simply no food in the house, but Gulam still managed to become a doctor. At 34, he came to America to advance his qualifications in urology, a very complex medical discipline. Gulam settled in Hermitage, Pennsylvania, a peaceful family town with a population of 16,000. Years ago, immigrants came there to work in steel mills, but then the mills closed and medicine became the growing industry. Moonda became one of the first urologists in Hermitage and quickly built a large client base, so he knew many people in the community. Gulam was an excellent doctor. He treated patients like his own family, was kind and sincere, and knew that not only in India but even in a wealthy country, people could suffer greatly from various diseases. In Hermitage, Gulam Moonda was loved, valued, and respected. When a patient couldn't afford prescribed medication, The doctor ordered the drug and paid for it out of his own pocket. The man remembered the hardships he faced in childhood and didn't want anyone to repeat his sad experience. Dr. Moonda also established an Islamic studies department at the State University in a nearby Ohio city. Until the final chapter, Gulam Moonda's life story could have been a perfect lesson about how hard work and self-sacrifice pay off, and his life in Hermitage was the embodiment of his dream. It was into this life that he brought his young wife. Donna worked on her own medical career as a nurse anesthetist. They were a wonderful, respected couple until a tragedy struck the woman's life. Donna lost her father, her main support and pillar. This dealt a devastating blow to her psyche. When her father died of a brain hemorrhage, Donna was inconsolable because she had always been a daddy's girl. Her entire life changed from that moment. The young woman fell into such deep depression that she distanced herself from all her friends and loved ones. It was as if, with her father's death, the spark that gave her strength for life had gone out. Most likely, it was her father's passing that triggered Donna's downfall, plunging her into a world of addiction and causing the tragic death of her husband. From a hard-working nurse saving lives, Donna turned into a cold-blooded and ruthless criminal who targeted a loved one. Due to intense work and her father's untimely death, Donna felt as if she were sinking into an abyss of loneliness and hopelessness. When a person is drowning and can't get out on their own, they desperately need a savior to extend a helping hand. At the same time, the woman was diagnosed with kidney stones, and she developed terrible back pain. Gulam took his wife to all sorts of tests, but Donna felt that the husband who had been by her side all these years had now become distant, indifferent, and absent. Donna was in severe depression and needed support and praise. Serious problems began in the star couple from Hermitage. Donna turned 40 and Gulam was already over 60. She needed energy and emotional uplift to climb out of the routine that had engulfed her. But he wasn't quite ready for that. Due to Gulam's health issues, the couple's intimate life became less vibrant and fulfilling than before. Their relationship cooled somewhat. For a while, Donna's work helped her forget about emotional problems. It consumed her entirely, leaving no time for self-reflection. Her duties involved relieving patients' physical pain. Meanwhile, Donna herself was battling emotional pain. Medications that could dull physical suffering could also help with her ailment. Besides all the obvious dangers nurses faced, there was one little-known risk. No matter what was happening in their lives, they had to focus on the patient's pain because a few drops of medicine in a medical worker's hands could relieve people of excruciating suffering. But when a nurse was exhausted, when her body could no longer handle the strain, those little vials of medicine began to tempt her. No one knew how many doctors and nurses used drugs meant for patients, but such workers existed, and Donna Moonda was one of them. She resorted to using a prescription drug that couldn't be detected in drug tests. This medication was very potent and instantly addictive. Just a few drops were enough. In Donna's opinion, no one would know whether the patient received the full dose or if the nurse kept something for herself for a rainy day. Donna had been on the edge for a long time, so she started taking the painkiller. At first, she just wanted to ease the pain in her back and kidneys. Plus, it dulled the grief of losing her father. But then things spiraled out of control and led to tragic consequences. The woman became hooked on the drug and could no longer function without it. Naturally, she kept her addiction a secret from everyone. The eternal optimist Gulam tried to stay positive and support his wife in every way. They had been married for 20 years, but the man still treated her like a young girl. The problem was that now he and Donna were no longer on the same wavelength. Even close friends couldn't understand what was happening to her. Donna seemed to withdraw into herself, stopped answering calls, and refused to socialize. All this led to the woman finding herself in a very difficult situation. Donna distanced herself from her old friends, but still tried to play the role of a happy wife with her husband and his friends. None of Gulam's colleagues even suspected that she was suffering from a destructive addiction. Donna lived a double life. However, the problem existed, and it was getting worse. The fact that painkillers were easily accessible to a medical worker didn't mean their use went unmonitored. One day, Donna was caught. It was her first offense, so she was given probation and required to undergo rehabilitation, but she was fired from the hospital. Donna's charges of using illegal substances weren't made public because she didn't plead guilty, didn't show up to court, and acted as if nothing had happened. She and her husband tried to keep this unsightly truth a secret from everyone. Not wanting to air their dirty laundry, the couple withdrew into themselves. Donna, who had worked as a nurse for a long time, at 42 turned into an unemployed, addicted woman who no longer had access to prescription drugs. Her body craved a dose. The woman was morally, emotionally, and physically broken. She didn't know what to do or whom to turn to. Donna couldn't ask her husband for help because he was angry and frankly didn't understand what was going on. Donna needed to find another way to solve the problem. It could have been rehabilitation. Taking responsibility was part of recovery. Detoxification is hell, but it's nothing compared to emotional turmoil. Instead of changing themselves, many people simply look for a new way to escape reality. In the rehabilitation center, Donna found a new obsession. His name was Damien Bradford. This acquaintance boded nothing good for Gulam Moonda. Damien was a good-looking 23-year-old guy. He had repeatedly gotten into trouble with the law for drug dealing and use. The guy dabbled in steroids to build muscle mass to impress women. At the time, Damien was on probation. Given his criminal activities in the small Pennsylvania town, Bradford was considered a thug, but he had an attractive appearance. In Damien, Donna found a reason to live. In the arms of her new boyfriend, the woman felt happiness. Lying in bed with her young lover, Donna hatched a plan to eliminate the only obstacle preventing her from living life to the fullest, her husband. She decided that the best way to start over was to get rid of the old. When Donna Moonda first appeared at the rehabilitation center, she was dressed to the nines. Hairstyle, makeup, jewelry, high heels. She didn't look like a stereotypical patient, so she immediately caught the young guy's attention. Damien, well-groomed, muscular, very polite, and courteous, also appealed to Donna. She hadn't received so many compliments from a man in a long time, so she lost her head to the flood of emotions. Romances sometimes sparked in rehabilitation centers. When a person breaks free from their destructive addiction, a void forms inside them, and it needs to be filled with something. Damien and Donna started meeting secretly and then entered into an intimate relationship. There was that chemistry between them that Donna didn't have with Gulam. Perhaps the sense of danger added a thrill. At home, Donna said that rehabilitation helped be new, feel like a living person, a new woman. Damien lived in an apartment with a roommate. To see each other more often and at any time, Donna found him separate housing and paid the rent herself. She gave him money for clothes and other expenses. The guy essentially became a kept lover. Donna was hooked again because this was another full-scale, all-consuming addiction. The woman was obsessed with her young boyfriend. They talked on the phone or texted each other at least 40 times a day. Damien called her baby, and she called him daddy. For a middle-aged woman, it sounded strange, but that's how it was. In her vulnerable state, Donna needed this attention to feel needed. When Donna fell in love with Damien, living with Gulam became impossible. Their relationship began to crumble completely. In conversations with her lover, the woman called her husband a prison warden who watched her every move. But Gulam had money and power. Leaving him meant losing both. She told Damien that Gulam was a cruel, domineering man who controlled her both mentally and physically. Donna deliberately painted this portrait so that her lover would dislike her husband in advance and also want to get rid of him. If at first Damien saw his girlfriend as a temporary fling, later, getting to know her better, he began to feel genuine, sincere feelings. However, he had his own relationship problems. It seemed that his former roommate, with whom he shared an apartment, considered herself his fiancée. The girl's name was Charlene McFrazier, and she was unhappy that her fiancé had been stolen by some married 40-year-old woman. Charlene called Dr. Moonda and told him about his wife's affair. That's how the secret became public, and it hit Donna's marriage hard. It turned out that Gulam, for all his generosity, was also very prudent. He had taken some precautions in case the marriage fell apart or unforeseen circumstances arose. Long ago, he and Donna had signed a prenuptial agreement. If they separated, the wife would receive $250,000. But now Gulam's wealth had grown several times over. Dr. Moonda was hurt, but not vindictive. Gulam decided that if Donna wanted to leave, he would let her go and even offer a larger sum than stipulated in the prenup. $1 million to make it quick and easy. But Donna refused. The thing was, Dr. Moonda's medical practice had made him one of the wealthiest people in Hermitage. The woman knew the contract would only be valid in case of a divorce, and now she was thinking about how to get her fair share to leave the marriage, make her lover happy, and fully tie him to her. Gulam was already in his late 60s. Donna decided that he didn't have long to live anyway, so why not speed things up a bit? Damien considered himself a bad boy, but what was happening now was far worse than just bad behavior. Donna offered her lover half of Dr. Moonda's fortune in exchange for helping her get rid of her husband. Damien Bradford was used to women spending money on him. His lover's proposal would completely change his lifestyle. He agreed not only for the money, but also because he was infatuated with Donna. He just wanted to please his girlfriend. So, Gulam had to die. Donna's plan seemed simple. The idea was to make the crime look like a random attack. She told Damien that her husband regularly went to the mosque. Then she gave Bradford a map and explained how to get there. Donna's friends and family didn't know about her dubious connections with a convicted drug dealer, but they had other reasons to worry. In late 2004, Donna told relatives that she was concerned about her husband. He always carried wads of cash, and his wife feared that one day Gulam might become a robbery victim. Thus, the cunning wife was laying the groundwork in advance. Choosing a day, Damien settled in his car near the mosque. He held a 9mm pistol and waited for Dr. Moonda to leave the building to shoot him right on the street. All this time, the guy was talking to Donna on his cell phone. His lover encouraged him and gave friendly advice, but the assassination never happened. Either Damien hesitated, or he didn't get the chance to pull the trigger. The mosque plan failed, but the lovers quickly came up with another. On May 13, 2005, Donna, her 74-year-old mother Dorothy, and Gulam would set off in their gold Jaguar to Toledo, Ohio, to look at a house Dr. Moonda wanted to buy for his nephew. The conspirators decided that during the trip, they would have a perfect opportunity to ambush Gulam unexpectedly. While Donna planned her husband's murder at home and in public, she played the role of a happy wife. And although the doctor knew about her affair, he didn't even show his friends that they had problems in their relationship. The woman probably felt that every day brought her closer to the moment when she would get rid of her aging husband, and she and Damien would be together, rich and free. So she diligently portrayed a loving spouse. The day before the trip to Toledo, Donna discussed the final details of the plan with her lover. Baby and Daddy were confident they would succeed. The attack, disguised as a robbery, was ready. May 2005, Friday the 13th, Damien dressed all in black, hoodie, baseball cap, shirt, and pants. Donna sent a few seemingly harmless messages to her lover, but in reality, they were a signal that the couple was about to leave. Damien watched from his hideout as Donna, Gulam, and Dorothy left the house and got into the car together. Then he followed their gold Jaguar. Donna invited her elderly mother on the trip. Dorothy was fond of Gulam since he had helped her daughter get an education, and Donna decided to give her mother one last chance to spend time with her son-in-law. After a gas station stop, Donna took over driving from her husband to make it easier for Damien to shoot Gulam. All this time, Bradford followed at a distance since Dr. Moonda took a different road than he had planned. The guy had to improvise on the fly. Donna drove for about an hour before pulling over to the side of the road again. She pretended to have a stomach upset. Damien sped up and pulled alongside the Jaguar. The plan that Donna and Damien had been developing for months finally worked. Dr. Moonda was about to step onto the shoulder when a guy dressed in all black rushed at him. Threatening with a pistol, he forced Gulam back into the car and demanded his wallet. Caught off guard, the man was scared and didn't resist at all. He handed over the wallet, which contained about $3,000 in cash. Perhaps hoping his joke about robbers would work and they'd laugh about it with friends later. 74-year-old Dorothy was in the back seat behind Gulam, and Donna was in the driver's seat when Damien put the pistol to the doctor's head and, without hesitation, fired. Then he simply got into his car and disappeared from sight. On the way, he tossed the pistol and sped back to Pennsylvania. Donna, a nurse anesthetist and emergency care specialist, attempted cardiopulmonary resuscitation. However, by all indications, Dr. Moonda was dead. Most likely, he died instantly after the bullet hit his head. He didn't have a single chance of survival. Donna betrayed her husband for money, forcing her elderly mother to witness a horrific crime. The murder of Gulam was brutal and senseless. The doctor had offered his wife $1 million. After a divorce, she could have calmly started a new life. And Donna herself was certainly not a hardened criminal, so what could have driven her to such extreme measures? Donna reported the incident to the police. She said she didn't see the robber's face because he was wearing a ski mask. Donna also lied about the make of the criminal's car, but her mother, Dorothy, confidently stated that the attacker was African American. And these weren't the only discrepancies in the women's statements. Donna insisted it was her husband's idea to pull off the road, while Dorothy claimed her daughter had turned onto the shoulder herself. Of course, these were minor details, but as they say, the devil is in the details. The biggest inconsistency was that people are rarely robbed and killed on the shoulders of toll highways. So why did the criminal shoot only one person and leave the other two untouched? Why did the two witnesses to the incident tell different stories? There were many questions, and many things didn't add up. A few days later, Donna appealed to the public for help. She begged anyone who knew anything about the attack to contact the police. The woman played the part of a grief-stricken widow and recalled what a good, kind, and loving person her husband had been. Her prayers were answered. 6 days later, the police received an anonymous call. The informant told the authorities that Donna Moonda and her lover, Damien Bradford, were involved in the case. The caller claimed the widow had helped Damien buy a car for $17,000 and rented an apartment for him. It didn't take detectives long to identify the anonymous caller. It was Charlene McFrazier, Damien's former roommate. In fact, Charlene wanted to frame Donna, but inadvertently implicated her former boyfriend as well. The police obtained a search warrant for Damien's apartment and found blood-stained clothes, cell phone bills, and Gulam's money there. That was enough to arrest him. While the guy was in jail, detectives gathered evidence. They had already determined, using cell tower data, where Donna and Damien's cell phones were at the time of the crime. Bradford counted on Donna's support. She was supposed to go to the police and explain that they had arrested the wrong person. The lovers had an agreement, but Donna didn't keep her promise, and Damien took it as a sign that it was every man for himself. The guy made a plea deal, confessed to the murder of Gulam Moonda, and agreed to testify against his lover. When the widow stood trial, her lover was the prosecution's main witness. Thanks to his plea deal, Damien Bradford was sentenced to 17.5 years, though he was the one who pulled the trigger. He was nothing more than a pawn in the game of a greedy woman. This unsavory story was discussed in all the news. Friends and family were shocked to learn about Donna's affair with a young man and her addiction to drugs. No one could believe that this hard-working, smiling woman had committed a crime against her husband for money. Donna Moonda received a life sentence without the possibility of parole because she was the mastermind behind the murder. Donna had everything: a millionaire husband, a good job, friends. But because of her destructive addiction, she lost it all. Because of a foolish desire to keep her young lover, she took her husband's life and condemned herself to a life behind bars until the end of her days. If you have finished watching, you are a real fan of true crime. Subscribe to the channel, turn on the bell notifications, and put the like. See you in the next video.